What's going on, Jerome's? Day 2 of the NFL draft went down on Friday evening, and so day 2, especially top of the second round, is always talked about as like, oh, this is the meat of the draft. But this draft is for sure, especially lacking the top end talent. But this was a very good, meat and potatoes. Finding several key additional starters, maybe not superstars, but guys that will certainly help you win football games. So I mean, day 2 was plenty sexy, and there's still a lot of talent still on the board. But walking through what went down, 32. So the Steelers got a lot of offers, but they decided to stick and pick Joey Porter Jr. Awesome story, man. So it goes back to the team that his pops played for, was a legend back in the day, won a couple Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl, and then Joey Porter Jr., who could have been in the mix with the Steelers in the first round, but he goes to them in the second round technically 32 would be a first rounder in most years, but Miami doesn't have a first round pick, so we'll take that as a win. I don't know. His agent, I'm sure, is going to push for some guaranteed money in that fourth year, whatever. Then the Tennessee Titans trade up for Will Levis, where, again, they could have been in on Will Levis at 11, but they went a different direction, taking Skoronski. But, I mean, they get their quarterback, and now it's going to be Levis and Tannehill and Malik Willis in just a mid-off in the Tennessee quarterback room. Yeah, Tennessee is spending like $75 billion on a new stadium for Will Levis. The Lions taking Sam Laporta. So we're going to get into the Lions draft, where the Lions had themselves a bit of an adventure. There you go. Michael Mayer, tight end, going to the Raiders. Probably Notre Dame. A little bit surprising that he fell in the first round, as well as Laporta went ahead of him. But I actually did like Laporta a lot in the draft process. For me, he was tight end too, mainly just because he went to Iowa. So maybe Hawkinson talked to him once. And that just automatically boosts up draft value. The Rams. Now, I think the Rams would have liked if Levis would have fallen, and he could have been the heir apparent for Stafford. But Villa adds that offensive line. It's also weird that the Rams have draft picks. Derek Hall from Auburn goes to the Seahawks. Seahawks are really revamping that defense, man. Bergeron, the offensive lineman, goes to the Falcons. Mingo, who a lot of people were extremely high on, goes 39 to the Panthers. Hey, they finally have a wide receiver one. Isaiah Foskey, the Daniil clone from Notre Dame, super productive for the Irish. He goes to the Saints as they look to replace Marcus Davenport. BJ Ojulari going out to the desert. I love that pick a lot. The Packers actually took 2 tight ends. Two tight ends because, the Lions now picked up an extra tight end in Laporta, and the Packers drafted 2, and the Bears have 17 tight ends, and the Vikings have Josh Oliver and Hawkinson. So 12 personnel in the NFC North. So hot right now. Joe Tippmann, stupid Badger, goes to the Jets. He's going to back up Connor McGovern for a hot second. Julius Brents, the lengthy corner, goes to the Colts. Brian Branch. So Lions trade up to go get Brian Branch, and it's all right. We got to take a look. All right, we got to take a look. Meow. Zoom in and enhance. So the Lions, the Lions are funny. As soon as this loads. All right. So if you put Gibbs at 18, and so if you put Brian Branch at 12 and Gibbs at 18 and Campbell at in the second round, and then Laporta in Brian Branch's spot, I mean, it looks pretty good. But maybe not so much. But either way, Brad Holmes does not care what you think, so he did up his own mock draft. Keon White going to the Patriots. Like, his initial reaction was funny, but apparently it was just an editing issue because he was kind of pumped to head up from Atlanta, head up to Boston. Jartavis Martin, super studly safety from Illinois, going to the Commies. Cody Mock, Bucks traded up to go get the pride of NDSU. I think it's a good spot for him in Tampa as they look to rebuild that offensive line. He could actually play tackle in Donovan Smith's place. Keanu Benton goes to the Steelers, where Pittsburgh had themselves a hell of a draft, man. Let's bring them up. Come on. Where are you at? There you go. All right, so Broderick Jones at 14. I understand position of need, but again, position of need versus going BPA sort of worked out in this spot. But Jones goes at 14, JPJ at 32, Keanu Benton in the second round, which I think is a great get for their front seven. And then Darnell Washington, who slipped apparently because of medical concerns about his knee, but that's really good value. Kenny Pickett just gets a monster target as they double dip on Georgia players. I saw a graphic that Georgia's had a first-round pick on defense at every single position. That's amazing, man. Jaden Reed goes to the Greasy Grimy Green Bay Packers. That sucks. I love me some Jaden Reed. Seems a little bit high, but also, they weren't going to gamble on potentially losing him. So I understand that a lot. Cam Smith from South Carolina tested exceedingly well, and he heads to the Dolphins. And I mean, they got Ramsey and they got Xavier Howard, and they're good to go, man. Zach Charbonnet. So the Seahawks. Pete did it again, where the Seahawks killed the first round, and then they just randomly take a running back. Where Charbonnet's great. They got Kenneth Walker, man. I don't know. Jervin Dexter, who the Vikings did some work on, but the Bears added size on the defensive interior. Let's check out the Bears. Bears. Again, Ryan Poles, similar to Brad Holmes, he does not care what you think. He does not care at all. Does not give a fudge. So Darnell Wright, again, drafting for need versus BPA. And then Dexter and Pickens, two defensive tackles that can have amazing size on the inside. And Tyreek Stevenson. It's all about the U. Also, what was hilarious, so Devin Hester announced the picks for the Bears Day 2. Devin Hester, of course, Miami Hurricane legend. And the first guy that they pick is Florida, who's a rival of Miami. And Hester did the gator chop. It's so hilarious. But and then I think they took Stevenson from the U, just the U being the U, as a bit of a makeup call. So who knows? Then Tutu Aplotu, where, I mean, led the country in sacks, defensive Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, just a guy who can get after it. Him going to the Chargers, going to play some 5-tech. That's pretty damn good, man. Rashee Rice, Mahomes gets his new wide receiver 1 coming out of SMU. Stevenson, we talked about. JMS, John Michael Schmitz, the Gopher Studley center, goes to the Giants. He's going to be starting right away. Luke Schoonmaker, tight end out of Michigan, going to the Dallas Cowboys. Osiris Torrance, they're adding some size along the offensive line, protecting Josh Allen's ass. Torrance is a stud, man. DJ Turner, the physical freak, multiple-year starter at Michigan, as well as did some great things at the Combine. He falls to the back of the second. Brenton Strange, again, the run of tight ends began in day 2. He goes to Jacksonville. Juice Scruggs is a guy that I loved out of Penn State, a bit more of a power center, but CJ Stroud gets his protector. I wouldn't mind it if the Vikings would have taken a shot at him, but obviously the league saw a lot more value with Scruggs there. The Marvin Mims, one of the more underrated players in the draft for me, goes to the Broncos as they maneuver a trade up to go get him. Third round, again, the Bears don't give a fudge. They're going to stuff the run up front. Pickens, I loved coming out from South Carolina. I love him. Tyler Steen from Bama, the offensive tackle, as well as Sidney Brown and from Illinois. Just another. I mean, the Atlanta had the entire defensive backfield drafted. It's crazy, man. But he goes to the Eagles in back-to-back picks. Drew Sanders, they maneuvered up to go get him, where he was an edge rusher at Bama, played some off-ball at Arkansas. Super talented kid. I think that he's going to fit in nicely with stupid Sean Payton's defense. Hendon Hooker goes into Tennessee. They traded up to go get him, where... So I like Hendon Hooker, but now that he's a Lion, I have to hate him. So now Hendon Hooker, he's too old. The knee is wrecked. And he played in a Looney Tunes Mickey Mouse offense at Tennessee. So now, dead to me. Tank Dell goes to Houston. That's at 69. Nice. That's a great pick. Where CJ Stroud, he's getting some protection as well as he's getting weapons. And Tank Dell staying in the Houston area. I love it. I absolutely love and adore that pick, man. Byron Young. They're getting at so Byron Young, the Bama defensive lineman, not Byron Young, the edge rusher from Tennessee, but adding some size and depth there. Kendry Miller. So Miller coming off some health issues, but super talented, was a big part of the Horned Frogs offense, and they look to rebuild their running game in New Orleans. Garrett Williams coming off that ACL, the only guy who picked 6 Trevor Lawrence from back in the day. Cuse as the Cardinals. Let's actually look at the Cardinals draft. I think they turned out okay. All right, so yeah, Paris at 6 after maneuvering. BJ, Garrett Williams, and Michael Wilson. I like that draft a lot. Monty Ossenford doing some work, man. I love it, baby. Jalen Hyatt goes to the G-Men. Giants had themselves a pretty damn good draft, man. Cedric Tillman, the Studley outside the number physical receiver from Tennessee, he goes to the Browns. Our guy Stefanski gets himself a good one. Zach Harrison going from the Ohio State to the Falcons. Marty Mapu coming in from Sac State, the Hornets, I want to say, but super versatile, linebacker, safety. He's a perfect type of guy for Bill Belichick. He sort of fits that Jabril Peppers mold. He doesn't really have a position, but he's going to play some great special teams. He's going to buy into the Patriot way, and I think third round. Maybe that's a little bit high for him, but I mean, he's the worst kept secret in the draft. A lot of people have crushes on him. Byron Young looks to replenish that pass rush for the Rams. Tucker Kraft, again, a lot of people were high on Kraft, and Kraft may have been one of the top tight ends in last year's class, but the pride of South Dakota State, who I believe was recruited by Bama, but decided to stick with the Jackrabbits, represent NSIC. Josh Downs goes to the Colts. Ooh, I like that pick a lot. Let's look at Indy. Yeah, Indy, 33-0, no big deal. So Richardson, Julius Brents, and Josh Downs. I like that trio a lot. All right, so they got the quarterback of the future. Brent's on the outside is going to do some phenomenal work. And Josh Downs for me, pound for pound, is one of the toughest receivers in this class. I mean, up there with Jordan Addison. But Downs plays like Steve Smith Sr. He absolutely does, man. I love it. Then DJ goes to the Panthers, where Spielman loved him some DJ Johnson. He's got some size. He can rush the passer too. Tajay Spears goes to the Tennessee Titans. So Spears, I mean, okay. They're probably going to move on from King Henry at some point, but Spears could be that guy. Oh, Will Levis just handing off Tajay Spears. Yaya Diaby, super toolsy, a little bit raw edge rusher from Louisville, going to the Bucks. Riley Moss. I love that Tom Pelissero is the one who pointed out that it's the white cornerback. But he goes from Iowa to Denver. Let's look at the Broncos draft. Denver. John F. in Denver, man. All right, so again, they don't have a first-round pick because of the rush trade. Also, they didn't have a second until they traded back in. But Mims, Drew Sanders, Riley Moss, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like that. And then Devin Akane, the super speedy running back from Texas A&M, he goes to the Dolphins. So that sort of closes the door on the Dalvin trade because remember they re-signed My Name is Jeff as well as Mostert. So. And with the K now, it's sort of done. Dan Henley and Trent Simpson go ahead of the Vikings 87. Now, I think the Vikings should and could have been on any of those linebackers, but they got plucked by the Chargers and Ravens respectively. So sort of is what it is. The Vikings traded back. And, Kwesi said that he would have been fine taking Blackman at 87. So getting some extra nice, and still getting it at 102 makes sense. Niners at 87 come up and get Jair Brown, their first draft pick, because they took Brown, who I think is underrated safety, as well as a kicker. Those were their two picks, man. The Niners getting it done. Of course, they don't have a lot of draft picks because of the Trey Lance trade as well as the McCaffrey trade. Tank Bigsby, who I like coming out from Auburn. I think that he's going to add some nice to the running back room, him and Etienne. Kobe Turner, Wake Forest, really nice defensive interior guy, adding to the mix with the Rams. I think the Rams aren't used to having draft picks, but I think they did okay. Yeah. Building in the trenches. So Avila, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. Yeah, it's definitely a trenches draft, man. Then Overshown. Ooh, I like Overshown. He stays in Texas. I love it, man. Dorian Williams is another one of my guys. He goes to the Bills, looking to replace. Why am I blanking on the name? I guess it is pretty late. Tremaine Edmonds, nailed it, the pride of Virginia Tech. Wanya Morris, the tackle from Oklahoma, the other one. Yeah, not Anton, but he goes to the Chiefs as depth. Darnell Washington, like we said, draft day slide stop. Michael Wilson, if he can stay healthy, I think that he has a chance to be a really solid outside possession receiver coming in from Stanford. Jordan Battle, I think, is underrated. I think he's probably going to start for the Bengals. Broderick Martin adding some size. Again, Brad Holmes does not give a fudge what you think. I like Broderick Martin a lot. Third round seems a little bit high, but Ricky Stromberg, I like him. I think that he's going to be the commies. Maybe eventual starting. With Roulier, who knows? But he'll be starting along the interior offensive line for the commies. Siaka Ika going to the Browns, a guy that I would have liked a lot. Hell, if they would have just stuck at 87, took Ika just as a man-sized mountain who's not going to be moved, take it. Again, the Niners broke the seal on specialists taking a kicker. So they took a safety and a kicker day one, day two. I mean, John Lynch gets a lot of credit for being this wunderkind general manager, but if anyone else did that, Trey Tucker, speedy receiver, going to the Raiders. Cameron Latu, I forgot that guy Latu. Oh, so they took a safety, a kicker, and a tight end. Great. And then also Mekhi Blackmon, the pride of USC, going to the Vikings. But looking around, see who else we want to look at. Oh, yeah, the Greasy Grimy Green Bay Packers. So Van Ness at 13. Okay. Then Musgrave and Kraft, the tight ends, sure. And then Jaden Reed. I like that this is basically just an FU to Rodgers. Like, hey, we're surrounding Jordan Love with some talent and some weapons. So there you go. Also, who else had a good day? I'm going to say the Giants have had a pretty good draft so far. Deonte Banks, chillin', JMS, Jalen Hyatt. That's a really nice get all around. Steelers, we already talked about. Well, stupid Eagles. I mean, the Eagles getting Carter, Nolan Smith, Steen, as well as Sidney Brown. I mean, come on, man. Patriots, Gonzo at 17. That's huge value. Keon White in the second round. I love that. Marty Mapu. I mean, come on. 1, 2, 3, win, play, show. That's pretty damn solid too, man. Dolphins, Cam Smith, a Kane, as well as who else? Cowboys. See Mozzie, Schoonmaker, Overshown. It's kind of nice, man. I mean, everyone's nice. Of course, the Vikings. We just have 2 USC guys, 2 5'11", 170-pound USC guys, but they're gonna be good, man. Also, Blackmon would go out of his way to cover Addison last year in practice at USC. So I just kind of love that overall. Let's see, we did Arizona. Let's do Baltimore. All right, so Zay and Simpson. I mean, it's not a bad start. Kincaid, Osiris, Dorian, sure. Falcons. Yeah, Falcons saying F you to convention again. Yeah, getting Bergeron, as well as Zach Harrison. Kind of like it. Panthers. Bryce Young won. Mingo in the second round, and DJ. I mean, that's 3 really good gets. I mean, Mingo is probably going to be your wide receiver 1 eventually this season. Bryce Young is going to be the future. And DJ Young, I think DJ Young is going to be really nice at sliding in with Brian Burns and Derek Brown and company. That's going to be good, man. That's going to be good. And, of course, stupid Bears, who we already talked about. So, there you go. Anyways, best available. Yeah, let's get into that. All right, so Keeley. So, a lot of people were higher on Keeley than the league was, apparently. Edawari. I wonder if something medical is going on, and that's usually what happens when some of these highly rated guys fall, where it's something unreported medically. But Edawari had some legit first-round steam coming from the networks. Didn't happen. Dawad Jones took a tumble. Henry Tutu, that's about where he should be. Rashawn Johnson, the other Texas running back. Clark Phillips III, who I thought if the Vikings were going to take an undersized, feisty cornerback, it would have been Clark, but super happy with Blackmon. Zavala is my guy. Hayner is there as well. Terrell Smith, Nick Herbig, Antonio Johnson. Sort of a diet version of Brian Branch, a guy that I like. Charlie Jones, sure-handed receiver from Purdue, formerly Iowa. Corey Trice, super lengthy on the outside if you want to double down on a double-down corner. Izzy from Pitt. Jacorian Bennett, physical free cornerback as well. So a ton of talent still available. And looking at the Vikings picks, 4th round. So Vikings are back on the clock at 119, and then they got a fistful of day 3 picks, 5 total. So we'll be back at it, man. But super fun. Super pumped as always. But your thoughts are thoughts. Take a look and recapping day 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.